This video is for all you folks out there who have ever been confused when you heard Lewis Carroll's immortal classic, The Jabberwock, from his book, Through the Looking Glass. For those of you who haven't had the pleasure of hearing this beautiful nonsense, prepare to be confused.
"'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All a mimsy with a bodied rose, and the mome raths outgrabe. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jube bird, and shun the frumious bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the manxome foe he sought. Then rested he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while and thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes aflame came whiffling through the tulgey wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock, my son? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. Callooh, callay, O frabjous day, he chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All a mimsy with a border groves, and the mome raths outgrabe.
I know what you're thinking. What the hell was that? But it's really quite simple. Lewis Carroll just made up all of his own nouns, adjectives, and verbs. So, very simply, we could go through and replace all of the nonsense with the word adjective and the word noun, and suddenly the whole poem would make sense.
'Twas adjective, and the adjective nouns did verb and verb in the noun. All an adjective were the nouns, and the other nouns adjective. Beware the proper noun, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the other proper noun, and shun the adjective proper noun. He took his proper noun blade in hand, long time the adjective foe he sought. Then rested he by the proper noun tree, and stood a while and thought. And as an adjective thought he stood, the proper noun with eyes aflame came verbing through the proper noun / adjective wood, and verbed as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, the proper noun blade went sound effect. He left it dead, and with its head he went verbing back. And hast thou slain the proper noun, my son? Come to my arms, my adjective boy. Exclamation of joy, O proper noun day, he verbed in his joy. 'Twas adjective, and the adjective nouns did verb and verb in the noun. All an adjective were the nouns, and the other nouns adjective.
Now that we've gotten that figured out, we could just replace the adjectives, nouns, and verbs with adjectives, nouns, and verbs that actually make sense in this world, and then the poem would be an all-new poem that everyone would understand. Here's a couple examples of what you could do with just the first stanza.
'Twas hot, and the fluffy bunnies did run and jump in the field, all joyous with the squirrels and the lizards grumpy. 'Twas bone-chilling, and the darkened faces did waft and glare in the shadows, all a-fearful were the sinners, and the citizens vengeful.
And now the whole poem, revised, simplified, and dumbed down a little bit.
'Twas misty, and the darkened sparrows did glide and flutter in the wood, all a-tremble were the mountains, and the trees silent. Beware the dragon, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the griffin, and shun the hungry wolf pack. He took his ancient sword in hand, long time the skillful foe he sought. Then rested he by the halfway tree, and stood a while and thought. And as in deepened thought he stood, the dragon, with eyes aflame, came crashing through the lonely wood, and snarled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through, the ancient blade went kapow. He left it dead, and with its head he went skipping back. And hast thou slain the dragon, my son? Come to my arms, my wondrous boy. Hallelujah, O joyous day, he shouted in his joy. 'Twas misty, and the darkened sparrows did glide and flutter in the wood. All a-tremble were the mountains, and the trees silent. Came verbing through the proper noun / possibly adjective wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2. Fuck, I said burbled.